Recording. Hello, welcome to the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. I'm your host, Rob. Today we'll be going through the event results from Age of Sigmar that happened at the weekend. I'm joined by the Twitch chat, as you guys can see here. I'm not joined by my co-host, Mr. Owen the Juice Jackson, because he's still doing a victory lap, having won an event this weekend, just got. Right now, I'm going to be looking at the event results of events that happen around the world. Actually, recording this before I even know actually what all the events are, but I assume it's a very Ironjawz heavy set of results. Which is going to be really good. See, this is why I have to go through all the results before I start, because then what's my summation at the start without knowing? This is going to be a disaster. First time we've done this. This is going to be really fun. Our first two-day event that we're going to look at the weekend is the largest Age of Sigmar event that we've seen so far in Age of Sigmar 3, which is exciting. It happened in Austin, Texas, and is part of Games Workshop's US Open Tour series. The pairings were, I think, win-loss draw. Not sure what the secondaries are, but that doesn't really matter to us here at the Honest Wargamer Stat Center. No, the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. Because, as you guys can see, we just care about the 5-0s. So we're talking about the 5-0s right now, and you guys can... Oh, no. That doesn't look good. Let me just fix this a little bit for you guys. So you can see all the info. There we go. There we go. That looks better. There we go. We're looking at the 5-0s. And congratulations to Justin Greminger, Gavin Grieger, Benjamin Richardson, and Juan Singh, Noah Singh. Great person. 100 and... there we go. We just care about the piggies. A huge event held in Texas, held over 5 rounds, and so we ended up with 4 5-0s and a lot of 4-1s. Let's talk about the list, shall we? Justin was bringing a Bloodtooth's Uruk War Clans list, and as you can see, they are featured twice in this, a lot of times in the 4-1 bracket, and also they feature a lot of times at other events from the weekend, so they're doing really well. This is a Maw Crusher and a Mega Boss on foot, 2 War Chanters, a Weird Knob, and then 4x3 Gore Grunters. Don't forget those Gore Grunters are allowed to be battle line in Bloodtooths, and also a Rogue Idol. So he's able to buff up those Gore Grunters, throw them off, and also use the Maw Crusher. Thanks, Sircon, for resubscribing in the Twitch chat. You guys should join us in the Twitch chat. So much output. It's not a one drop, which is one of those interesting... I don't think it... No, it's definitely not a one drop. It's not a one drop, which is interesting to see how many one drops we might actually have seen from this event. But he's got a lot of output in the Gore Grunters, which are maybe, probably too cheap. The points they are. They probably need like a 20, 30 point bump. And the Rogue Idol's also fantastic because you can use the Maw Crusher and the Mega Boss, and the Rogue Idol start doing different battle tactics. So really solid there. So well done to Justin. You better say my name right, says Benjamin. Benjamin Oh no, I've written it down wrong for a start, so that's a fucking bad start, isn't it? Is that how your name's spelt? That looks wrong, Benjamin. Gavin Grieger from Thunder Lizard. With a Thunder Lizard list, you got a Stegodon with Skink Chief, Sky Streak's bow, a Slan, a Skink Priest, 2-star Priests, an Engine of the Gods, and then 2x30 Skinks, and then also some Saurus Guard, pretty certain that's not how it's spelled, and a Bastillodon. Those Saurus Guard obviously going to protect the Slan. The Engine of the Gods are going to work really well. Those 2x30 Skinks, pretty rare nowadays, but the cool thing on the Engine of the Gods, he had Curse, so he's going to be able to use that 4-up to try and proc even more mortal wounds out of the army, and I quite like this. So I think I really like that. I like this Thunder Lizard list. It's slightly different to one of the lists that we've seen previously. I think Thunder Lizard actually is probably going to be one of the strongest Seraphon lists in the next few months. Why do I think that? Just look at Jiwan, Noah Singh, and also Justin for that. Those War Chanters making those armies +1 damage. And then Thunder Lizard reduces damage incoming by 1. So that's going to work really nicely into an Ironjawz meta, which we're definitely moving into in the future. And then Benjamin Ricardson, or Benito Ricardino, is Benjamin Richieson and also Benji Ritchie.
And also Benjamin Rika Herdstone also went 5-0 and should be really proud of himself with with a Lumineth Realm Lords list. In Sire, he had a Regent, so a Lord Regent. He had Severity. Why is my typing so terrible? He had Severith in his list, a Cathalar. He had he had 20, 10, and 10 Wardens. Severity. He had 20 Wardens, 10 Wardens, 10 Wardens, and then he had 30 Sentinels and another 20 Sentinels in a 1-drop. So I assume that Benito Riccardoni basically took the first turn, shot out anything that they loved, and giggled with glee. Giggled with glee. By the way, if anyone would like to be my proofreader in the future, please do let me know. Then Juan Noah Singh, with those amazing takedown videos on Twitter, was running again a Bloodtooth's army. 2 more Crushers, 2 War Chanters, a Weird Knob, 4x City Gore Grunters, a Fungoid Cave Shaman. Love the Fungoid Cave Shaman being put into this army because so the Maw Crusher can do a command ability on 3 units, right? It can do all-out defense, all-out attack. It can do Mighty Destroyers, but all require CP. Okay, and so the Fungoid Cave Shaman generates some CP, also throws a wizard in there. So the Fungoid Cave Shaman, I was talking to some great guys at the weekend, like there was a load of Ironjawz playing, we're all having a chat. The Fungoid doing Mystic Shield on any of the units, but specifically the Maw Crusher, is amazing. Yeah, and then also generating CP. Great alloy choice, in my opinion. Benjamin, with his Lumineth list, said he did do that thing that I said, and it felt really good. Okay, so this is good. And then, so that's the 5-0s. They should be really proud of themselves taking out the event. I think Justin won the event. I don't know what the secondary scoring matrix was for the event. I don't think anyone who went to the event knew either. I don't think anyone knows. If you're not doing win, loss, draw, and then differential, I'm not really sure what you're playing at, but that's fine. So congratulations to them. Now, in the 4-1 bracket... Have I changed? It's just 118 players in one slide and 114 in the other slide. Fucking hell. The scoring was win-loss, then battle tactics, then points. Awful. Absolutely awful. I might not be able to type, but I promise you that's the worst. But, like, whatever. It should be win-loss draw differential. Like, I'm so convinced of that after this weekend. Anyway, in the 4-1 bracket, now we already know this. This is actually really exciting if you're watching this back on YouTube and you haven't had to go through this for the past hour with me in the Twitch chat. Yeah. Brian Lofton with an Underguts army. Get ready to be excited. It's absolutely madness. He had 4 Iron Blasters. I don't know what you're thinking. Okay, 4 Iron Blasters are featured before, Rob, but there's no way, absolutely no way, 0% chance that we also saw some lead belchers, and you'd be dead wrong. He had a unit of 8 and 2 units of 4. Madness. Underguts has a command ability that allows you to shoot again with one of the Iron Blasters. Of course, that's really good. D6 damage, 2 shots, hits on 4, so that's a bit of a problem. And then also get to extend the range of your lead belchers, which get D6 shots if you don't move. It plays really well into a meta that I don't yet understand. That's on me, though, as a commentator, and not anything to do with the meta at this event in any way, shape, or form. So well done to Brian, because that was an absolutely fantastic list. I rarely see that list play, but we have seen it do very well in only America, but we have seen it do well in America, but only there. Is the Stormcast in bold because it's the most filthy? Did I put Stormcast in bold? Zachary Kennedy had a Nurgle list, which was made up of, he had some really interesting stuff. He had Nurgle Marauders as well as some Plague Bearers. I think he had 3 units of 20 Marauders. And then he had the War Shrine and also a Chaos Sorcerer Lord to buff them, which is quite cool because you can get rerolls to hit and wound. And you can also pile and attack twice. So that quite cheap 180 point Marauder unit, getting all those buffs from the Slaves to Darkness, the 300 or so points of buff pieces that were brought in order to buff them. I think it was also a Great and Clean one, and we had some Plague Bearers as well. So, Great and Clean one with Glorious Afflictions. Mringak Jar had his Stormcast list, and that was the Annihilator Splam list. It was with Bastion in there as well. It was quite cool, and I think we also saw 6 long strikes in the list. Thomas Guan had a Calibron list, which Marathi and the Bowsnakes. Ryan Rutherford had a Legion of the First Prince list, which was a little bit different to some of the other lists before, because apparently a lot of the people in the Legion of First Prince community have been talking about how good the Soul Screen Bridge is. So we had the Blue Scribes, Kairos, the Bloodthirster of Incensant Rage, and also Be'lakor, of course. So Be'lakor really good for shutting down units and denying battle tactics. Kairos does the same with the spell, with the Oracle dice. And the Legion, and also the Blue Scribe's really good for being able to auto-cast the Bridge, which can't be unbound 5 out of 6 times. And that Bridge allows you to move 10 pink horrors up. You had 3 units of 10 pink horrors, move them into the mid-board, and hold an objective, apparently, is what they're there for. What's the faction for that Nurgle army, seeing as they're all pretty good, it's hard to know from the title. That Nurgle list was a Munificent Wanderers list, I would like to believe. I think I forgot. Hunter Atkins has got a Big Yellows list, which it had a lot of Bolt Boys and also a Sludge Raker, so congratulations to him. Joseph Alberta with a Thunder Lizard list, which was quite cool. I think we had some Stegodons and... I can't remember that one. And then Marco Hernandez had a Bloodtooth list. Again, more Crushers and Pigs. Caleb Hastings had a Thunder Lizard list, which also had Engines, Stegodons, and some Sallies. Both of those 2 Thunder Lizard lists featuring double Bastillodons, which is super good. Christopher Schelling had a Sons of Behemoth list with 4 Mega Gargants. Alexander Gonzalez had an amazing Soulblight Gravelord list, which was quite cool. Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Yep, nailed it. He also had Manfred in his list, and also Radikar the Beast, which was super cool. He also had 10 dogs, 2 times 10 skeletons, and then he had 2 blocks of 20 Graveguard, which tie in quite nicely with the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and also with Radikar the Beast, buffing them up so they can do quite a lot of damage. It's quite cool because you have the units that you can obviously hold the backboard, and the units that can push and be really aggressive in both Manfred, Vampire Lord, and the Graveguard. So 4 threats really in that army, which is so good. Some anti-magic, some good magic for himself, which is really cool. Chris Nelson with his Host the Ever Chosen list had a super cool Khorne list. It was a Host the Ever Chosen list 6 circle, which means the Varangard do extra damage when they charge. Archeon was also in this as well. We know how good Archeon is in the list. Mark of Khorne on all those units means they get to reroll once to hit, which is so good, especially when you tie that in with the +1 to hit that comes from Archeon onto the Varangard, allowing them to pile and attack twice, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. There was also a Blood Secretor in there as well for that additional attack. Really, really like that. A lot of damage, a lot of pro. Normally you see Mark of Tzeentch for the spell ignore and also the reroll wants to save. I like Chris's version or even the Slanesh version for exploding 6s because it's just more aggro. It's a more aggro 6 circle list, and I think it's fun. Then Matt Laura has got Big Yellows, so he's got a Sludge Raker and some Bolt Boys. And then Jonathan Schleezus has a Hagnar, Marathi, and the Bowsnakes list. It was a little bit different, though, in that it had some Shadow Stonkers. That's not different. Travis Fryer had a Stormcast list. I've written it. Stormcast. He had a Stormcast list, which included 4 Fulminators, 6 Vanguard Raptors, Bastion Carthalos, and also the Lord Relictor with the teleport. And finally, the standout Meta Watch article bait right there is Evan Miller with his Gloomspite list going 4-1. Yeah? Going 4-1. What was in the list, I hear you ask? It's a great question. You had the Trog Hag was in the list, of course. You also had whatever the Trog Boss, it's called a Trog Boss. You had 6 Fell Waters, which really felt like his power piece. 310 points for 24 wounds. It really does feel like a power piece unit with that +1 to hit, potentially working really well on the clubs, which are Rend 1, which is, we know in Age of Sigmar isn't that good. He also had MSU Rock Guts, which, as we've seen constantly in different metas, have been not as successful as they would have liked. They're kind of like Dragon Ogres, only you see them less, is what I'm going to say.
So overall, how do we think Evan did such a good job? It's a great question because I really don't think it was the list. I don't think Evan has put a list together that maybe really redefines the meta. But what I think Evan has done, and I think this is really important, is been just better than everyone else. He's just doesn't care. Doesn't care about stats. Doesn't care about metas. Doesn't care about results. He also took Mollog. Yeah, he also took Mollog. Sorry, Mollog was also in the list. Now, Mollog isn't like a secret piece of tech, which you would normally expect, but he's probably the best wargamer in the world, is what I'm saying. So congratulations to Evan. He's a superstar, and he should be really proud of himself, is what I'm going to say. So that's everything that happened at Games Workshop Austin. And now we're on to the next event. So the next event is Bobo Heat 2. Bobo is and has been one of the largest Age of Sigmar events in the world, with only CanCon beating it in 2018. Yeah, 2018, with only CanCon being the largest event to happen. So Bobo was tipped in 2019 to be a 250-player event. After COVID I don't mean that. After COVID subsided enough that we could all recklessly go outside and lick each other, the tournament organisers decided to split it up into two different heats. So Heat 1 and Heat 2, with the top 7 of those heats qualifying for an exclusive invitational tournament here at the TSN Arena. So congratulations to all the people who have qualified, and also the two TOs have also put themselves in the mix for a total of 16 players who are going to play that event. It was a 76-person event with a bunch of really great gamers, but the meta was super weird. There was 4 Beasts of Chaos, there was only 1 Tzeentch, there was only 2 Lumineth Realm Lords, but the most dominant army that we saw was Uruk Warclans. We saw loads and loads and loads of them, and they did really well over the weekend. So 80 plus at the top. So what does that mean? So normally we talk about the 5-1 bracket, the 5-0 bracket or the 4-1 bracket. However, at Bobo, much like in War in the Heartlands, what happened was they used the differential system. So how much you beat your opponent by gave you a 20-0, entered you into the 20-0 system. So if you just beat your opponent by 1 point, you won 11-9, which is really important. So you won 11-9. If you happened to smash your opponent, you got a 20-0. And so in this bracket, I'm featuring all 4 players who were able to get over 80 points out of 5 games for a total of 100 points. So it's quite a nice way of really thinking about it, because Owen got 89 points, with Mike getting 88 and Darren getting 87 points. That means Owen only dropped 11 points over the weekend, which is genuinely very, very, very impressive. So what was Owen running? So he was running Ngash, or Nagash, I think is what he was running. Arcan, he was running OBR, so Oceanic Bone Reapers, and it's one of the best performances by Oceanic Bone Reapers, I think, to date. Owen maybe has been about 14, 15 tournaments. But don't forget, this is in front of a live studio audience, so if I'm laughing a lot, it's because the Twitch audience have said something. So Nagash is very good in OBR, because Petrifex Elite, the sub-faction, they make you ignore Rend 1. So you aren't able to do all-out defense in OBR. You aren't also able to reroll charges. But a Mystic Shield from Nagash, and also his command ability, which allows you to reroll save rolls of 1, is really, really good, as well as Nagash being able to do some crazy things with Arcan and the spell portal. Arcan's got a command ability that extends the spell range. Nagash can do the Hand of Dust, which auto-slays a unit, and doing that through the spell portal means Nagash and the Hand of Dust had a huge effect on the games, being able to lift up all sorts of monsters and big power pieces at any point in the game. So he did really well. He also had 20 more Tech Guard, 10 more Tech Guard, another 10 more Tech Guard. And again, when they're able to reroll their saves, which they are, because that's the Hecatos allows them to reroll their saves via an ability called Shield Wall, and then the spell, ignoring Rend 1 means those Mortec Guard really don't go away. And when you kill some, Nagash is able to put units back, or models back into that unit. So it's really powerful, really strong. You're also able to power up a bunch of arcane bolts and shoot a bunch of stuff off. Congratulations to Owen. Owen been working really hard to take out events, always being the bridesmaid, never the bride. And I'm really happy for my co-host and very good friend. He should be super chuffed. Mike Stewart, fresh off a win at War in the Heartlands, did an amazing job over the weekend with his Thunder Lizard list. He had a Slan, he had 2 lots of 2 Salamanders, he had 3 lots of 10 Skinks for screens. He might have had 120, but either way. He had 2 Bastiladons, this is all in Thunder Lizard, and he had an Engine of the Gods. So Engine of the Gods was a really nice power piece. Mike was being really clever to use his Realm Shaper engine to block Alpha Strikes, and we saw that really good in the live stream game against Darren at the end. Also, if the Engine of the Gods went off and was able to summon some Saurus Warriors, or if it was able to give extra attacks to any of those shooting units, it went crazy. But really, it was a moving castle, and he played it very, very well. Thanks to Wunderbar in the chat, who's just said, hi, Rob, who subscribed, and said, normally a Hydra homie, but met you at Boba at the weekend, so I thought I'd say hi here. Hi, Wunderbear! Let's go! I'm Dunk, and I had the Beast Chaos list with the Dragon Hose and the Jabber Slithe. Loving all the content. Oh boy, 4 Beast of Chaos players this weekend. Dunk, you're a legend. Never give up on them. It was a great army. Big fan. I'm a fan of you, Wonderbear, so thanks for tuning in. Darren Watson. We all love Darren Watson. With his Iron Sons list, who got 420-0s. That's right, 420-0s going into that final game against Mike. So dominated all of his previous games with his Iron Sons list. More Crusher, 2 War Chanters, 2x6 Score Grunters, and the Rogue Idol, and then 3x5 Odd Boys. Ignore the writing there. It was done by our intern, who's an idiot. So 3x5 Odd Boys in that list. And so good, right? Because the 3x5 Odd Boys sit at the back of the board and hold the objectives. The 2... the 2 War Chanters buff up the 2 Gore Grunters, and the More Crusher makes all of those units go fast, and they also have the Fasten. So it just 6 Gore Grunters, a Rogue Idol, and a More Crusher charge you on the first turn. And then it calls a War, so they've all got an additional +1 Ren. So the Gore Grunters have got Ren 3 or Ren 1. It's just madness, right? You can tell Rob Whitfield the way he talks to his Michael, hi Rob, congrats to OJ on the win. Yeah, well done, OJ. So proud of you. He's done great work there. And then Jack Mayland. Now, Jack also got in the 80+ bracket and was running Bloodtooths. He had a More Crusher, a Weird Knob, and a Gore Grunters. Now, the list from the weekend at Bobo actually were written down on paper and weren't in a digital format. I did see Jack's list. He had a lot of Gore Grunters and also a More Crusher. I just don't remember and he obviously would have had 2 War Chanters. I just don't remember the rest of the list, and I also don't know where the rest of the list is. So congratulations to Jack. He should be super, super proud of himself. So that is the results from Bobo. Ironjawz are hot. Jeffrey, you're getting it. As we go through these event results, you're going to see that Ironjawz are hot. Going to talk about more about that on the Age of Sigmar Monday show. But in my opinion, oh God, sorry, podcast gang. In my opinion, they are one of the strongest armies out there right now. Like, so strong, so incredibly strong, so good, right? How bad are they going to slaughter their pigs in points? There's Kavold. They need to go up, but right now it's pigs for days. Okay. 24 Gore Grunters. You can do that D&D. But the thing is, let's talk about how important the More Crusher is. The More Crusher's ability to do 3 command abilities is insane. It's insane. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say Darren took the first turn with his Iron Sons list, and you can do something similar with the Bloodtooths. He takes the first turn, he charges everything, and he wipes out a screen. Okay, so he wipes out the whole front line of the opposing army. The opposing army, let's say, has some combat units, not enough, so it decides to charge 1 unit, maybe 2. You can use the More Crusher's command ability to countercharge with up to 3 units. You can all-out defense with up to 3 units. You can all-out attack with up to 3 units. The More Crusher's ability to do 3 command abilities from 1 CP is wild. Out of this world. Out of this world. I don't think I gave it the credit when we talked about it previously. I'm so blown away by it. It's mind-blowing. Like, just mind-blowing. And so those Maw Crushers are so, as well as being absolute damage machines in their own right. So just so good. General takes Mega Bossy, Double Crusher, Mighty Destroyer 6 units. Wow. Mighty Destroyer 6 units is wild. I think dedicated combat units need to be cheap and strong. Dedicated units need to be expensive and strong to get the balance right, but they both need to be strong. Roar the Crusher and lots of power is out the window, says Brad Pitt Law. It's a good point. It's a good point. So that's everything at Bobo. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to everyone as well. The differential system is a really unique way of using it as the primary. Normally it's win-loss draw and the differential. After War in the Heartlands, I wasn't very convinced about using the differential system as the primary score system. After this event, I'm more convinced. I know. I know. I don't know what the situation is, but there you go. As an Ironjawz player, I wouldn't mind seeing Brutes and Pigs trade points. I think Brutes contextually are weaker right now in the shooting meta because of the 4-inch move, says Yoso Bush, and I agree with that. The differential was 2 points per 1 point difference, basically. So P-Cray all day, if that helps you. 2 per. I've tried 1 per difference, and it's not as good. So it should be 2. So congratulations to everyone at Bobo. Over in Norway, we had the Invasion Aos event. 38 players attended this event, and it's in the southern part of Norway is where it was. 2 players went 5-0, Danny Elfstead and Christian Brubakken. Danny Elfstead had, as an ongoing narrative for today, an Iron Sons Ironjawz army. He had the Maw Crusher, he had 2 War Chanters, he had 2x6 Gore Grunters, he had a Rogue Idol, and he had 3x5 Ard Boys. Again, that intern not writing that out correctly. 3x5 Ard Boys. A really good list. It's a 1-drop list. It's so powerful. We talked about this already at Bobo. Great list. Well done to Danny. Christian Brubakken, though, really doing something a little bit different. He had a Futhwan list, he had a Tidecaster, he had 2 Soul Scries, and he had 3 aspects of the Storm in Futhwan. 3 lots of 10 Reavers as battle line, which is really nice to see. More and more people using those Reavers as battle line. I love seeing that. I think that's super exciting. Then he had 1 unit of Ishling Guard, and he had an Alapex with the net launcher. Now, we've already talked about lists like Danny's, but it's fun to talk about Christian's list going 5-0 because the ability to keep some of these units off the board and then Deep Strike is really fun. The Tidecaster Loadout was also very, very interesting. You had 1 with Cloud of Midnight and then 1 with the Arcane Tome. So he'd obviously use the battalions to get an extra artifact, meaning he got the Wizard and he got flaming weapons. And that's really nice for making it so that one of the aspects of the Storm can't be targeted either in shooting or melee, meaning you've got even better chance against shooting armies to get those 3 aspects of the Storm into combat. I really like this list. I think it's really good. So I think this is super strong, really powerful and also very, very interesting. We saw at 6 Nations, we saw 3 Eidolons used. We've also seen this in a couple of other versions of these at this tournament as well. I think Christian Brubakken and his friend took similar lists or almost identical lists, slightly different loadouts on the profiles. And it's really great to see because it's super unique and I haven't seen it before. And shout out to Birdie DJ in the chat. I just converted from YouTube because I referred to as a thug in the last video. Congratulations. If you are watching this back on YouTube or listen to it as a podcast, thanks for being a Hydro Homie. You can always join us live on Twitch where we record these videos and you guys get to have your say in the chat. It's super fun to do and I love seeing you guys on here, so do join us. Yeah, 3 Eidolons, super cool list. Well done to Christian Brubakken. I will include the list in the show notes if you guys want to go and check it back. So this is Invasion. Then, in the 4-1 bracket, you had Old Vatland with a Bloodtooth list, which had Maw Crusher, Gore Grunters, and it was a big 1-drop. Super cool list. Again, Ironjawz doing very, very, very well. Benjamin Fludder had a Legion of the Night list with Manfred, a Vampire Lord, Zombie Dragon. He had 60 zombies. He had a 40 and a 20, and then he had a unit of Fellbats, and he also a unit of Blood Knights, 2 units of Blood Knights, and also some Fellbats. Really fun. And again, like I've said before, I really do think that that Soulblight Gravelord's book is probably one of the most diverse books you can play. I'm not saying it always 5-0s, and in fact, I don't think it really necessarily fits into an S tier kind of play, unless you're playing Greg's list. Greg from Six Nations, where you're taking Manfred of Vengori Lord and Nagash. Feels more like a 5.0 version of this list, but it's one of the it's one of the widest books for taking a variety of different units. It's really exciting. Then you got Stian Engbretsen, who had a Hammers of Sigmar list. He had Bastion, he had 4 Fulminators, he had 6 Long Strikes, and he had another 3 Long Strikes. And the really nice piece about this list, he had a Gur Battle Mage in his list as well as an ally. Now, the Gur Battle Mage has got a great spell for helping those Fulminators guarantee those charges. As we know, those 4 Fulminators are so strong on the charge because they go from damage 1 to damage 3. So Gur Battle Mage is such a nice inclusion in that list. I really like that. Also, you'll be able to do such a cool conversion or little, like, it's really thematic, which is what I like to see. Kim Raw Bergin, I love this guy, has taken an Alithia list. He had tech lists, and as soon as I read that he had Eliana and Alathor in the list, I thought, wow, what a cool list. What a cool list that he took at Elenia. Then I realized he had 40 Sentinels, and it was a 1-drop, and I changed my mind. And then finally, Gear Videld, who had a Futhorn list, and this is the similar list that we saw from his friend. He had 2 Soul Scries, he had 2 Aspects of the Storm, but he had a Leviathan. He still had 3 Reaver units as battle line, but again, really nice to see. It's so exciting for the Ironjawz Deep King players to realize that they actually have a bunch of units in their army and that they can create these really fun and interesting lists that we haven't seen previously, because Eel Spam was so relevant in Age of Sigmar 2. Those Reavers becoming really cool in Age of Sigmar 3 are really, really fun, especially for shooting out screens, and then the Source Cry is so useful as well. So there we go. That's Invasion AOS. Congratulations to all the players. Traveling over to Spain, we have one of my favorite formats of Warhammer, Team Warhammer. That's right, in Malaga, they had the Grand Tournament Malaga, the second one that they've done, and you had 16 teams with 4 players each, equaling 64 players playing at the event. Now, we don't have all of the lists because some of them were pictures of carpet, which was a weird take. But so we don't have the actual information, but we do know the sub-factions in the 2 winning lists, winning teams, Requiem and Casus Belli. Casus Belli were running a Legion of the First Prince list, a Daughters of Cain Hagnar list, a Sons of Behemoth list, and a Soulblight Gravelords list that was Vrykros. Now, Legion of the First Prince, Daughters of Cain, and Sons of Behemoth are all in the plus 55% win rate category, so they're all really strong lists. And then the Soulblight Gravelords list has also been doing pretty good play, but is teetering more around the 50% list. So fun to see, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Soulblight list also had Nagash in it. Requiem, which was the other team that did really, really well. And that was Miguel and his team. They had a Sons of Behemoth list in Breaker Tribe, a Daughters of Cain list. They also had a Seraphon list, and also which was Thunder Lizard, and they also had a Stormcast Eternals list, which is Celestial Warbringers. I wouldn't be surprised to see some Vanguard Raptors in there as well. If you are running a team event or have a team event, I'd be love to know what your team composition is. That would be really fun. And congratulations to everyone in Malaga at that event. In Sweden, we had a really exciting event where we had 22 players play. Thanks, Lord Wilco, for resubscribing. We had 22 players play, and they used the differential system again, probably, like they did at War in the Heartlands at Bobo, which is cool. The only person to get over 80 points was David Nornius, winning the event with his Sons of Behemoth. And as you can see there on the screen, he was running a Breaker Tribe Sons of Behemoth list. He had 2 Kraken Eaters and a Gatebreaker and 3 Man Crushers. So congratulations to him. The Gatebreaker had the Amulet of Destiny, and the Kraken Eater had the Arcane Tome and took Flaming Weapons. Should be super proud of himself. In second place, you had Eric Iversgard, which is pretty cool. He beat Soulblight Gravelords, Cities of Sigmar, Uruk Warclan, Soulblight Gravelords, and Sylvaneth at the event. And he was taking a Hammers of Sigmar list. It had 6 Vanguard Raptors with long strikes, and then he also had 3 Annihilators. He had 2 Dracothian Guard Fulminators twice. Sorry, Dracothian Guard Fulminators twice. Then he had a Lord Relictor, a Knight Incantor, and a Lord Imperator. That Lord Imperator helping that unit of Annihilators drop down and get those 7-inch charges, which I think is really cool. He also had a unit of Vanguard Paladors, which we never see which was really exciting. And then you had Alexander Ortegenzo, and he had a Sigmar list in third place, getting over 70 points in the differential system. He had a Rune Lord, it was Tempest Eye, he had a Battle Mage, he had Anointed of Frostheart Phoenix, and he had a Celestial Hurricaneum. Then he had 30 Iron Drakes, 10 Longbeards, 10 Free Guard, and then you had 10 Protectors. I call this the list the Colin Cochrane list. So big shout out to Colin from Northern Ireland. Those 10 Protectors doing so well, 51 attacks, 2s and 2s. They all get +1 save in the first turn. And then those Iron Drakes also getting +1 to hit and shooting twice if they don't move. From the Celestial Hurricaneum. Now, one of the really interesting things also is the Frostheart Phoenix, because this is a castle build using the Soul Screen Bridge to move into the front of the board. By the way, Twitch chat, you know for a fact that I've just come into this list cold. You got to be impressed about how quick I can just fucking make stuff up, right? This is, like, come on. This is impressive, right? He uses Soul Screen Bridge. He moves them up the Protectors as well as his screening units. But what's really clever about this, is the fact that he's got the -1 to wound aura coming from the Frostheart Phoenix. I love that because he hasn't got any other monsters, meaning he's got an easy monstrous takeover from the Frostheart Phoenix, who's got the Arcane Toe, meaning he can use flaming weapons on himself, or he can give himself a Mystic Shield, and he's got +1 to cast from the Celestial Hurricaneum. I love this list. I love Colin's version of this list, and I like this version of this list because it will look really awesome. So I like this list. One of my favorite to date, I think, actually, this version of, like, Cities of Sigmar. So congratulations to all the players in this Swedish event. They should be super proud of themselves. So congratulations to David, Eric, and Alexander. On to the next event. In Mother Russia, we had an event this weekend called Brother Valdus 16. There were 31 players, and unsurprisingly, friend of the show, Philip Kartiev, has again won the event. This actually makes the 37th event in a row that Philip has won in Russia. He is arguably the best player coming out of Russia, and he took a Living City list. In his list, it wasn't available on TTS, which I'm showing you now, so I'm reading it out, was Free Guild General on Griffin, a Sorceress, another Sorceress, and Anointed on Frostheart Phoenix. And if you just listen to me talk about those, they're very, very good. Then he had 2 lots of 10 Dread Spears, and he had 10 Free Guard, and then he had... Then he had 4 Dracothian Guard Fulminators and another 2 Fulminators, and then he had another Hurricaneum. Those Fulminators, as I've talked about, are so good. They're Ren 3 on the charge. They're 5 wounds apiece, 6 wounds apiece, 6 wounds apiece with a 3-up save. They benefit a lot from Mystic Shield and obviously also +1 to hit. So congrats. And now the important point about why are they so good in Living City? This is from my friend Miniac, who's watching live right now. The reason that Fulminators are so good is because the Living City gives you a command ability that lets you move a unit after it has shot. Now, the Fulminators have got a shooting attack, so what they do is they deep strike from the side, which means they get to avoid any shooting lists, which we know are very dominant in Age of Sigmar right now, specifically the Sentinels. So he gets to avoid those, and what he gets to do is deep strike them off the board, shoot with them, move them their movement, and then charge. And that charge that they have is phenomenal because obviously they've got 5 attack space that do damage 3 on the charge. So you're looking at 20 attacks doing damage 3. So you move and then you charge. They don't move away. They definitely want to pin you in. So they'll be able to do that with all of those. YouTube title, Random List with Miniac. Yeah, I'll put that in the title. Miniac watched the stat show because he's in. Hey, Smitty, big love to you. So congratulations to Philip on his 37th event win. He should be really proud. In the 4-1 bracket, we had a Lumineth Realm Lords list that was Helon Nation. You had a War Clans list, and you also had an Ideneth Deepkins list. Again, talking about how incredibly impressive those Bloodtooth lists are doing, and all the Ironjawz lists. Now, Vladislav Trusov was running the Lumineth Realm Lords list. I've definitely got that 100% correct. He had an Helon Nation, it was the Helon Nation subfaction. He had a Wind Mage, Severith, the Regent, and then he had 30 Sentinels, 2 lots of 10 Wardens, and guess what? Can anyone guess? That's right. He had 2 more Wind Spirits. I don't know how you knew, Lockjaw's, Rob, how many dragons do I need? I reckon you need 4 dragons and the Draconis, the Drake Guard, and then take 6 raptors. Because the problem is they don't. I could get into this conversation all day. I was talking about this loads with Cabbage. I reckon you don't do well in the mirror, and you also don't do well into Ironjawz. So I reckon it's not 10 dragons. I reckon you come back from that. You go for 4 as a punch piece. Maybe don't even take the Night Draconis. Get that out of there. Take something like Bastion, and instead take the 6 raptors. That's my opinion. You don't have to listen to it though, right? So well done to Vladislav. So that was the list we saw play loads at Six Nations. Ilya Kukar was running an Ironjawz Bloodtooth list. He had a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher and another Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Then he had 3 Uruk War Chanters, and he had a Shaman, and then he ran 4 times 3 Gore Grunters in the list as well. So making them all, buffing them all up, calling a big war, relying on that smashing and bashing and punching through everyone. Congratulations to him. And then Zerdo, you do fine into American Ironjawz, Joe. The Ironjawz lists that are proper are the 1-drop Ironjawz lists. The problem is, so you all want 2 Maw Crushers, but you're wrong. You want one Maw Crusher, and you want to make it a 1-drop, is what I'm saying. Dr. Stab, thanks for subscribing for 6 months. Oh, that's so nice of you to do that. And then finally, Zerdo. Was running an Idoneth Deepkin list in Futh 1. He was running an Aspect of the Storm, again, with a Cloud of Midnight, and then 2 Soul Scryers, 1 Soul Scryer and a Tidecaster, 2 lots of 10 Thralls, 30 Reavers, 6 Ishling Guard, and an Alapex, and then a Leviathan. What an amazing list, 30 Reavers. That's so good. Can you shout out the person who finished 7th, please? So again, the events in Russia sound fantastic. Me and Owen have got plans in 2022 to go over to one of the Russian events. It's very, very exciting. Very much like Poland, generally dominated by some key star players, but they've got a very healthy tournament scene and a really exciting meta, and it'll be fun to see them also play at Worlds. Do it. So our final event for the day is Aruscon 2021, which is a team tournament held in Denmark. Now, the Danish are wonderful people. I've been able to meet some of them on TTS when we did lockdown or when we were locked down, sorry. And we did a lot of DTS tournaments. Wonderful people, and they've got a really exciting meta, and they've got a really exciting group of gamers. I'm excited again to see them at Worlds, and I'm excited to see the people who've joined us for the first time in the chat, like Elvenhand, who played their first game at this tournament, and also Modnaru, who's asking about updates. We're actually going to do a wish list show on the Age Sigmar Monday show later tonight, so do join us for that. So, this was an event this was teams of 4, and it had 13 teams in attendance. 2 teams. It was won by Large Charles, won the event, and we're going to look at their list now. Congratulations to them. They had a Cities of Sigmar list in Living City with a Celestant Prime, a Black Ark Fleetmaster, wow, and Duralia. Now, we talked about Duralia last week. We saw Ridge of Sigmar win Du Bois GT last week with Duralia and how good she is into wizards. He also had Gotrek, so a cast of special characters, and then a Scourge Runner. What the he had Scourge Runner Chariot Battle Line, 2 other Scourge Runner Chariots. I really should read these lists before I record. And then he also had 4 Dracothian Guard. Now, I've already talked about Dracothian Guard and how good they're going to be in Living City because the ability to shoot and then move and then charge. So congratulations. Well done. That's part of the team. Then Alexander was running a Legion of the First Prince with Be'lakor, Bloodthirster and Sense of Rage, Kairos, and Slaves of Darkness Demon Prince. Haven't talked about this much on the show this week, but of course they've got the ability Blood Slick Ground, or as we discovered with live coverage at the weekend, not necessarily slick, but more gory, basically. But it means you have to halve your run and charges within 18 inches, which if you actually put that on the board is a huge space, which is really good, means that you can control how many units charge you, meaning that if someone's trying to achieve a battle tactic and kill one of his 3 units of 10 pink horrors, he's not necessarily going to be able to even charge to try and kill the pink horrors. Then he's got 3 lots of 10 pink horrors as well. And then we've also got a Seraphon list run by Svend. Svend, who is great. Big fan of Svend. He's so good. And we've got a Slan Star Master, a Skink Priest, a Skink Star Priest, Astaroth Banner Bearer, and Croak. Combat Croak in here. And then he's got those 2 lots of 30 Skinks,
and a Saurus Guard, and he's got 3 ones of Salamanders. This is really, really good because he's able to drop down those units of Skinks or drop down those Salamander hunting packs and do some pretty good mortal wounds at range. And then Croak also does some additional mortal wounds. So that pairs quite nicely. And he's also got the Slan for a lot of stat summoning. So that's a good anti-magic list and a pro-magic list as well. And then finally, that's everything that's in their team. So congratulations to to them. Big shout outs to everyone from Ensomafarten 1807, Raiders from Shalland, Fluff Patrol, Satan, and definitely not Skaven as a team. I'm proud of all them, and I'm proud of the Danish meta. So what can we take away from this weekend set of event results? Ironjawz are here to stay, as are Fulminators. It seems like Ironjawz are dominating the top tables. Is it because they're new and people don't know what to do against them? Or is it because they're very strong? My argument is that they're very, very strong. You have to screen against them, which you can do, but I think if you take them in Iron Suns, they're just very, 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 very good. I think the one drop is better than multiple other, like having a lot of other units, but I do love the inclusion of the Fungoid Cave Shaman for additional CP. I think that that's really nice. Big shout out to Straylight in the chat, who is our YouTube thug convert. So if you are watching this back on YouTube, as you can see here in the link in the chat, this is live on Twitch, and you should join us on Twitch because it's a really exciting time. I think the more Crystals and Gore Grunters are going to get a slight point bump will make them perfectly balanced. I think that seems fair. Now, they aren't dominating because we have seen other lists, or they are dominating. We have seen other lists. They're also the flavor of the moment, so there's a lot of people trying to run them. But the bacon is very strong, right? But the output is phenomenal. The output is outrageous. The speed is outrageous. The output is outrageous. So there's something you've got to prep for. Great question, how to prep for them. Not really sure at the moment, truth be told. You're going to need some screens. You need something to counterpunch really hard because they aren't that tanky. Those units of 6 pigs are 30 wounds on a 4-up save, which can go to a 3-up save. So you should be able to do that with some pretty reasonable units. But the problem is screens aren't that cheap, especially in some armies. And their speed is phenomenal. Maybe it's time to bring back Shackles. Legion of the First Prince is doing really well because that ties in with the Khorne Demon Prince is going to do really well for reducing charge ranges, as is things like a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth with their unique spell for shutting down charges. But maybe it's time to bring back the Soul Snare Shackles, which does reduce your charge range. So that's something to think about, in my opinion. That's my kind of wrap up. Also, Fulminators and Long Strikes. You're going to see those all the time. You're going to see Long Strikes time and time and time and time again. And you're also going to see Fulminators in Living Cities or also in Stormcast. So it's been an interesting set of results from the weekend. I'm excited to see with some standout performances, specifically from people like Owen, who are really good with the factions that they've been playing a lot. And it does go to show you that if you keep playing a faction, OC Bone Reapers sat around like a 48% win rate at the moment. It does go to show you that if you practice and practice and practice, you are going to be able to win events with armies that maybe aren't in those A and S tiers at the moment. Time for the Twitch chat to have their say. Dr. Stab, who's a first-time viewer, this is the first time I've caught a stream live. I've only seen you through YouTube before, and Miniac is here to boot. What a treat. Thanks very much for tuning in, Dr. Stab. There we go. You're running me the Shaggoth. I'm so proud. I did. Play defensive eels. They're horrible to deal with. There's a good shout, actually. Defensive eels into Gore Grunters. It's really interesting. Oh, my other hot pick is the Rise of Thunder Lizard. Now, of course, the Gore Grunters and the Ironjawz are super good because you're able to add +1 damage from those War Chanters. Now, if you can kill the War Chanters on the first turn, that's great. Do that. But if you aren't able to do that, then the right play, in my opinion, is to reduce that damage incoming by 1, which is what Thunder Lizard does so well. So that even when you're doing all those damage 2 attacks, now become pointless. And you don't have to concentrate your shooting in taking out the War Chanters. Instead, you can start doing damage into things like the Maw Crusher, which is cool.
Anyway, this has been the Sigmar Stat Center. Thanks for tuning in. It's been filmed in front of the live Twitch audience. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you're listening to it as a podcast, please stay hydrated. And if you are one of the people who subscribe to the Honest Wargamer Patreon, thank you for doing so. Don't forget, everything we do is for free. So it is amazing of you guys to support us on Patreon, because I'm broke and I need money is the easiest answer. Thanks. But special shout out, as always, every single week to the Stats crew, which is Ziggy, Rob, and the rest of the team. Big love. Love you loads, and see you soon. Bye.